for the 813-240. You're live in the air.
Oh, man. What up, Sal? How you doing?
What's going on?
What up? It's me, Chris. What up, Yahukanan?
Oh, what up?
What up, ssoreal? How are you?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing better. Okay, check this out. This is an easy conversation, right? And I'm going to give the edge to Yahukanan because he stayed on topic. The name of the debate was, did Paul keep the law? Did Paul teach the law? Okay, but since you were jumping around, I noticed that a lot of people do this. When Christ say keep the law, a lot of times you'll hear people run to Paul and say, see, this is what Paul said. But let's look a bit closer, because if you're going to obey anybody, wouldn't it be the master teacher Yahushua? Wouldn't it be him? I would obey him if that's what he told me to do. The will of the Father is to keep his laws. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 teaches you that, okay? Now, Matthew chapter 7, Yahukanan, can you read 21 through 23 real quick, please?
Hold on, ssoreal. You have to read it for him. Let me step back in the house. Read it for him, ssoreal.
Sure.
Ssoreal, can you read Matthew 7, chapter 7, verse 21 through 23?
Sure. It says this. Not everyone that says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but the ones who do the will of my Father who is in heaven. On that day, many will say to me, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name? Did we not cast out demons in your name and do many mighty works in your name? And then I will declare to him and say, I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness, iniquity.
Okay, now we see right there, he himself, albeit I don't believe he'll be there like that. I have my own separate belief, but that's neither here nor there. He said that those who don't do the will of the Father won't enter into the kingdom of God, those who practice lawlessness. Now, the name of the debate was, did Paul teach the law? So let's go to Galatians chapter 5, verse 19 through 21. Can you read that?
Okay. Give me a second. The Galatians chapter 5, 19 through 21. All right, here we go. Sorry, sometimes this thing, All right, here we go. Okay, it says this. Now the works of the flesh are made manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulation, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like of the things which I tell you, as I have said also, I told you in times past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God.
Okay, now we see right here Paul is teaching the law, albeit he's not teaching it by the word or the letter of the law. He's teaching it through the spirit of the law. He's telling you these things will not if you're being obedient to these things, you're not going to inherit the kingdom of heaven. Now, there's a lot of words in there that I can toy with or that I can show you that are found within the law. But let's go to the word uncleanliness, okay? Because y'all brought up pork. And you said you don't believe that you won't be able to inherit the kingdom if you eat pork. That's untrue. That's an untrue statement. You mean to tell me that you're going to be able to eat an unclean thing in the kingdom? Is that what y'all saying? Because Leviticus chapter 7, Leviticus chapter 5.
Yeah,
hold on. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I got you. Now, according to Leviticus chapter, let me go to Leviticus chapter 5, Leviticus chapter 7, and let me get there real fast because I want to hurry up and get off so the other callers can get in. Leviticus chapter 7, Leviticus chapter 11, Leviticus chapter, all these spoke of things that you do that are unclean, and the Most High does not like it. The one I would really want to turn to is, can you turn to Leviticus chapter 11, please, verse 7.
Okay, Leviticus chapter 11, verse 7 says, let's see. You know, I'm going to warn you. You're setting yourself up. I just want to warn you. But here we go. Leviticus
Let's keep
chapter
it going.
11, verse 17. Yeah, okay. And the swine, though he divide the hoof, and he be clove-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud. He is unclean to you.
Okay, now, according to Paul, or Shaul, okay, he clearly tells you that you cannot do uncleanliness and enter into the kingdom of heaven. So let's see how you enter into the kingdom of heaven. Because many people go to Galatians 3, but y'all won't read Galatians 5, or at least not all of it. Let's stay in Galatians chapter 5. Read 20 through to 26 for me, please.
Okay, Galatians chapter 5, verse 22 to 26. It says this: but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. And they that are Christ have crucified the flesh with the affections and lusts. If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. But wait, you want me to keep going, or you?
Stop at verse 26.
Okay, let us not be desirous for vainglory, provoking one another, and envying one another.
Okay, now, as we can see, Paul right here is teaching this is how you walk in the Spirit. If you walk according to these traits, there's no law against that. I'm not going to be breaking a law if I'm loving my brother or if I'm loving God. That falls right back into when the Pharisee asked Christ, what is the greatest commandment in the law? He said to love God with all your heart and your soul, and the first is like the last is like the first, and to love your brother. Paul is teaching the exact same thing. He's not teaching against the law, albeit he might have wrote some things that I don't agree with, but that's neither here nor there. The focus of this was, did Paul teach the law? Now, with that, I want to say shalom to everybody. Everybody donate. Good job, Yehukanan. Shout out to everybody else. Zadok, I'm coming for you. Peace.
All right, I hope you stay on the line.
That's all right.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and respond to that, all of it, as quickly as I can. It won't take long.
Yeah, hold on. Just let you know, he actually it's called this dropped. It's called this dropped. You can still respond.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So they're the usual passages that they go to. Matthew 7, let's look at verse 23. They get hung up on the word iniquity here. When you look at this word iniquity, it actually just means just general wickedness. It comes from anomia, right? It means the condition of without law. Because of you're ignorant of it, because you're violating of it, right? Contempt and violation of law, iniquity, wickedness. In other words, it's just, you're totally just doing wrong. And they call it general unlawfulness. If you look at that in the Hebraic Roots Bible, right, it actually gives you a little citation of an example of this. And it's this. Hello? I can't find the I'm sorry. Well, I'll look at the translation later. But it basically gives a reference back to Psalms, and it talks about this word iniquity. And every time you look at it there, it once again just means general wickedness. Now look at this. The word nomos, that means law. And notice it's different from anomia, which is just general wickedness. Nomos actually means law, and when you look it up, it actually is talking about the law of Moses. So isn't that interesting? So if you're going to try to weave that, oh, you didn't keep the law in there, it doesn't work. So let's go on to another part. He went to Galatians 5, and he spoke about, look at this word here, uncleanness. And from there he said, I guess it's like, the same uncleanness that you find in Leviticus, right? But before we do that, let's look at this word in the Greek. I do this all the time. Look at what it says here for uncleanness in this verse. It means this: uncleanness, physical, in a moral sense, the impurity of lustful, luxurious, profligate of living, of impure motives. It sounds a lot like how Jesus said, you know what, it's not what goes into you that makes you unclean, it's what comes out of you. And what did he name? All this immoral stuff. That's the kind of uncleanness that he's talking about. And it's funny that the next word for the flesh is actually an example of that uncleanness, lasciviousness. Because when you look that up, it just means, where's it at? Yeah, I'm sorry. It means unbridled lust, excess, shamelessness, insolence, outrageousness, wantonness. That's all moral stuff. Let's compare that to his quote-unquote precept, which is just totally terrible way to use the Bible. He went to Leviticus 11, verse 7 to show this. Look,
and so we're just
sorry
to we just got to allow Yochanan to respond to some of the things you're saying too. But okay, I'm going to let you finish up.
Okay, so I'm going to finish up with this. When you look up that word in the Hebrew, right, guess what? It is taneh. When you look at taneh, it's talking about a whole bunch of ceremonial stuff that's wrong. The word that's that matches uncleanness is actually zakah, and bor. That's the kind of cleanness that you have, right? But the cleanness that's talking about here is a ceremonial thing. It's ceremonial uncleanness. So that's different from the new covenant emphasis. I could say other things, but once again, I gotta give it up. He did say some other stuff, but I'm sorry. Go ahead. I would have addressed it all, but go ahead.
Yeah, you can't address it all, man.